Welcome to episode 159 of Mastering Local Marketing, the offline marketing channel that's thriving. You may not agree with this, but one of the most overlooked marketing channels for local business might be sitting in your customer's mailbox. Direct mail sounds old school, expensive, and hard to manage, but today it can be targeted, simple, trackable, and surprisingly effective when you use it the right way. I've got Chris Barbold from the Barbold Agency with me today. Chris, how you doing?
Not too bad, Matt. How about yourself?
I am doing well. So I don't do a lot of direct mail. And it's funny because going back years, we'll just put it that way, my first job, I remember walking in on day one, and my boss, I walk into the office and she walks me down to my office, my new office. She puts me in front of an old school Mac. She's like, "Have you used this?" I go, "No, never touched a Mac in my life," which is funny because one's sitting in front of me right now. And I said, "Okay, well, what are we doing?" And she goes, "Well, I've given you a project." And I said, "Well, all right, that's great. What's it look like?" She goes, "We have an 850,000 piece direct mailer that needs to go out, and that's going to be your first project. Art department's around the corner. If you need me, I'm around the corner. Here's our control piece. Our printer is 3 blocks away, and our fulfillment house is 3 blocks away. Get going." And I went, "What?" So, I laughed about it because I had no idea what I was doing. So I did the logical thing. I walked over to the art department. I go, "What are we doing here?" And they go, "Well, here's the control piece." And I go, "What's a control piece?" And they said, "Well, a control is the one that we know works. It's the mailer that we send out every single time that we know works." And I said, "Okay, that's great. Let's send that again." And they go, "No, you have to develop a second one because we do an A/B test, right? We'll test the control versus whatever you build." And I go, "Oh, okay, let me see this." And I start looking at it. It's an 8-page letter. And I go,
Wow.
"People read all of this?" And they go, "Yeah, people read all of it, and it performs really well." I go, It's black and white, and it's an 8-page letter, and that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen." And they go, "Yeah, but it produces." I go, "Okay. So I have free reign with the other one." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And I said, "Okay, we're going to add color, and we're going to go to 2 pages, and we're going to do all this stuff, right?" So we do all that, and I walk over, I go see the printer, and he's explaining indicia permit numbers and all this stuff, and fulfillment, and how we had to look. We used to give away free gifts with all this stuff. You have to check the inventory levels, and it was just chaos. And I remember we accomplished it. And by the way, the one that I developed absolutely got destroyed. The control beat me by a mile. And I still laugh about that, and I share that with my students all the time. I'm like, listen to what works.
That young hubris that we all have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We got this.
So I laugh because today it's so much easier. I mean, so much easier. And I wanted to bring you in today because I think you've been doing it with your clients. I don't, everything that I do is mostly digital. And I think there's a resurgence happening in mail right now. And I see it with my kids. Yeah. And I see it with their friends because they get things in the mail and they're like, "Ooh, what did I get?" Right? And it's always, are there stickers in it? That's what I always laugh. But there's a resurgence with Generation Z and beyond that I feel like they grew up in a digital society, which they did, but they enjoy the physical presence of getting something in the mail. And it's funny because most of the time the things that my kids get are credit apps and everything else because they're, in college. But are you seeing the same thing with your clients that they're starting to ask a little bit more about mailers because I feel like the mailbox has a lot more capacity for more in it. Yeah. You're not getting as much direct mail these days, but that's an opportunity. Are you seeing that too?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Actually, it's funny. I saw a meme, I'd say a year or two ago, and it said like 1995, and it has the guy going to the mailbox and going, "Oh, more mail," and then going to his computer and he goes, "You've got mail," and him going, "Oh, I got an email."
Yeah.
And then 2026 is the complete opposite, going to the your inbox and your computer, and you're like, "Oh," and then he walks out and he's like, "Oh, a physical piece of mail! Right. How exciting!" It's kind of flipped.
Yeah, and I think quite honestly, we get so many emails, we get so bombarded online at this point that It is a nice change of pace. It's it's nice to see something different. Okay, so today we say it's simpler, and I know we were talking before we actually yesterday we were talking about EDDM, and for those of you that don't know what EDDM is, it's every door direct mailing or mailers, right? And the post office has this nice little easy way to go out there and buy mailing routes, and you can look at demographics and all these other things. So, if you want to go in there and say, well, I want to target 25 to 45-year-olds, you can do that, and it will literally show you what percentage of that mail route and all this other stuff falls within that range. It's got income levels, it's got gender, it's got number of people per household. So it's got all these things, and all you have to do is just, go online and just search every door direct mail, and you'll find the tool, and it's really interesting. So I was playing with it in my neighborhood. I'm like, all right, well, how does my neighborhood stack up to other neighborhoods? And it's really kind of an interesting tool. But I wanted to bring you in today because I know you do a lot of direct mail for your clients, whether it's the catalog that you do for one, or just simple mailers that are going out. So let's kind of walk through some of those and what you're seeing today.
So the every door direct mail, it's extremely interesting. It definitely shows you how efficient the government is, because you'll see you select a carrier route.
And that's not said often.
No. You select a carrier route, which is where an individual mailman delivers the mail to what houses. So it might be 7 houses on this street and then 3 houses on the next road, and then go across town and deliver 2 more.
Right, yeah.
It's really
kind of like
weird.
the old school bus routes.
Yes. Completely. Like, how did you end up here?
Yeah.
So in their tool, you select what you want, and it gives you all that data. So you can't necessarily say, I want the 5 blocks that are closest to my location. You have to go in and really pick what makes sense for you. And at that point, you have to think through traffic patterns.
Oh, yeah.
Completely how does someone leave their subdivision and go to work? Does that entire subdivision all go the same way? Like my subdivision, where, we're a little off of 30, so we all probably come up, take a left, and then end up on 30 that way. So you're like, okay, how do you hit that people in that carrier route that would pass by your store every day versus necessarily the closest to you? So.
Yeah, I never thought about that. The way when I was looking at it, I'm looking at it who's closest to your store. But if they're coming, like most people in where we're located in Northwest Indiana, a lot of people are heading to the city. They're heading to major highways. You start to look at different things like that. If you are in the path of that as they're going, let's say you own a coffee shop and they're heading to work that day, that I never thought of it that way. But yeah, you're right. I think that's an interesting perspective that I probably would have never thought of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's every door direct mail. And then with direct mail where you can buy a list, I mean, if you talk to the right list company, I actually can buy a list of who bought their pet a Halloween costume last year.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing in the world to see how detailed these lists get. And what we do is we'll buy a mailing list, and then, we follow it up with digital. So we send them a direct mail piece. Usually before that, we start a display campaign, because our provider for that can do geo bubbles around each person's house. So we start serving them display ads, so they at least get warmed up a little bit to the name. And then the postcard comes, and then it's like, oh, I've heard of this company somehow.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I see them everywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
there's a reason for that.
Exactly. Exactly. It's one of those things that you also have to sit down and do the math. Every door direct mail is cheaper because all that the mailman is doing is reaching in, sticking each one into each place, versus if you're doing a mailing list, the price goes up because it has to be sorted down to some people. So is it cheaper to go every door? Is it cheaper to do a direct targeting? Like, I know these people will use my product most likely. So,
yeah, we're not talking about thousands of dollars to buy these mail routes either. I was looking at it, and I think my mail route was $165 and some change to buy, and it got you a ton of houses. I mean, that's essentially, that could be like a digital campaign that you're running, but you're very targeted with that.
Exactly.
Right? So the other thing that I'm seeing, or that has transpired over the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years, is the ability to do a little bit more on personalization.
Yes.
Right. So back when I started, and I'm dating myself here, but going back to my first job, we couldn't personalize a whole lot of things because it was printed on a printing press, right? Today we have digital printing, which allows you the ability to change literally everything that goes on a piece one by one by one. So that's nice because, a printing press, it's on a plate and it runs and, you can't stop it. Whereas digital printing is just like the printer that you have at home where it prints one and it prints another and another. So what we're seeing now is with personalization, if you have the data, you can put it in the piece. And I've heard, people to where it could be a clothing brand. And I always buy, let's say, T-shirts from this clothing brand, but maybe you always buy shorts. The catalog that you get is all shorts, and the catalog I get is all T-shirts. And it's the same catalog. It's just the image and the descriptions and all that have been dropped in differently for the individual that it's going to. So I think personalization was a game changer.
It is. And I think the creepiest one I heard was one of the companies, they actually will take the person's profile pic off of Facebook and use that on the direct mail piece and send a postcard with their picture from Facebook on it. I thought that was a little too creepy. I was like, that's probably going to hurt the brand more than it's going to help.
Yeah.
So we chose never to do that, but you can even get that specific nowadays.
Yeah, I got one yesterday. I've got a property that I get these they call them yellow letters, but it's essentially a postcard that's got a picture of my house. And it's saying, hey, we would love to buy this house and, give us a call. And it's, you get those all the time. But, the fact that it has a picture of every house they're going after. So what they've done is they've pulled a list of, certain criteria. So it could be, you can look at equity. You can look at, is it a primary home? Is it all these different things? But they can somehow pull in the image, I'm assuming from like Zillow or I don't know. I don't know
Zillow
exactly what they're pulling it from.
Google Street. And different places like that. And
But I see it and I laugh because it's like, oh, there's my house, right? But
and you see it actually nowadays even in the I saw at my house from a standpoint that I sold your neighbor's house down the street and it has a picture of the neighbor's house, and then the other side is your house. See how much yours is worth. Love to help you.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I mean, it's great. So let's go back. You mentioned that you'll send mailers out.
Yeah.
And that you're also doing digital.
Yes.
What are kind of, and I don't want to share results, but what are kind of the impacts that you're seeing versus running them separately?
So separately, with digital, you can get into clicks, you can get into what they did, and then you get to a brick and mortar, and unless you're spending a certain amount or have the right vendor, you're not necessarily getting that foot traffic attribution. Mm-hmm. With physical media, mailers, we do a catalog for a client, and they literally walk in their hands and go, I want this one. Yeah. There's this one in the store. So with that, it gives our client a whole new perspective, that it gives them a rush of dopamine that they don't get, like, oh, this person just randomly came in somehow, some way. But when they walk in with that postcard, that physical thing, the client gets a hit of dopamine too, because they're like, hey, it worked.
Hey, it worked.
It worked. It's really here.
So you mentioned foot traffic attribution. Explain what that means.
So foot traffic attribution. It's
don't scare anyone.
I know. I was trying not to scare anyone. I'm like, how do I put this in and not make a joke of it? So your phone, at some point, you're going to give access to some app Some people give it to some Wordle game or something like that.
It could be social media. It could be a news app. It could be the Weather Channel app. It could be Spotify. Any of these things, right? Yeah.
That you give it the ability to track your location. And then what happens is they sell your location data to big data, and then you can actually tell how many people went into said store after seeing said ad. So from that standpoint, you get to actually say, here is the complete funnel. You know, they saw the ad, they clicked, and then this little bug comes on the computer, you know, cookie comes to the computer and to their phone. And then when they come into the store, they can say, hey, we saw that 15 people converted and actually went to your store.
Okay, so let's think about this, right? So let's say you send out a mailer to 10,000 people.
Yep.
You drop little geofences over each one of their properties.
Yep.
Because that's what you can do, working in unison. In doing that, you know that those 10,000, we'll call them postcards for simplicity, go to those locations, and that, let's say, 200 of those people walked into the store. You can track all of that.
Yes.
And you can look at it. And we talk about the sales funnel a lot, the awareness, consideration, and then becoming a customer. So the awareness is 10,000 people received it. We don't know what the consideration set is because we're not talking to each and every one of them. But when, you know, if 200 people out of those 10,000 were to buy, or maybe the numbers are better, maybe they're worse, we know we can look at that and say, oh, okay, so if we're, you know, if 200 people come in and they're buying something that's worth, you know, I know some of your clients, they sell anything from like, you know, $100 to $10,000, $20,000, right? So, you know, if you're selling 200 and, you know, let's say it's $5,000 a piece or even $1,000 a piece, I mean, you're doing rather well, right?
Yeah.
So you can track that. And the nice part about it is when we talk about doing marketing and trackability, one of the things that we always want to say is what's our return on ad spend? So what we're saying is if you're sending out 10,000 mailers and you're doing, you know, a geofence around all of these individuals, you know your costs that are going in there. And then you know when those people come in there, you can track kind of those addresses to the customer order. You can get real numbers because a lot of people will say, I hear it all the time, like, oh, well, I don't know. I spend money on advertising, but I don't know if it works.
All the time. I don't know. Half of it works. I just don't know what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old Ogilvy conversation, right? But, you know, what you're saying is a mailer can be tracked.
Yep. And they actually give you a discount, or they did. I don't know if they still do. If you put a QR code on a direct mail piece.
Okay.
They used to give you a discount at one point if you put just in order to make it a little more trackable. So you can go to Google.
Yeah.
And I think it's like $5 a month to come up with a QR code through Google, because that also allows you to change where that QR code goes, and it'll tell you how many people scanned it.
Yeah.
And it's, once again, the idea is just adding trackability in order to come back to you to prove your ROI.
Right.
Return on investment.
So, okay, so we're talking about old school mailings, which I think is hilarious that we always go back.
Yes. Everything has a cycle.
Everything has a cycle. But I think what we're seeing, and Jim and I have talked about this, and Jim is out on vacation. He's coming back today, so we booted him out of the studio. But you know, today we have to talk about the fact that digital feeds, whether it's your email, whether it's your social media, whether it's like you're just like if you've tried to read an article online today, there's a constant ad. Like I was reading something yesterday, and it was sports related. It might have been about the World Cup, which is going on right now. And it was funny because I'm scrolling through, and there was this nasty like toe fungus display ad that kept popping up. I'm like, really? What is this? Like, I don't have toe fungus. Why are you targeting me? Like, nobody searched this, but whatever. And it kept jumping in front of the content that I was trying to read, and it was driving me insane. So I just gave up. But I think what we're saying today is there is more competition in the digital space than the physical world.
Yes.
And I've been keeping track of this for about a year now, right? Like I've been watching, like we don't get a ton of mail. I don't know if you do.
Yeah.
But you know, when we get mail, again, like I said, it's for my kids. They're both in college. They get oh, you've been pre-approved. On my birthday, I was laughing on the exact day of my birthday, I got an AARP mailer. It's like, man, you guys are good. But, it's stuff like that I just kind of laugh at. But we get about 2 to 3 pieces of mail a day.
Yeah.
And that's very little what we call junk mail, right? Like the promotional stuff. When we do get it, I find myself looking at it these days. And it's not that I'm searching for anything. It's more that I'm intrigued that I'm getting it because people are doing it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the ones that I'm seeing that are doing it are the ones that I think are actually being the most successful that I've seen around the area. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm seeing a trend here. So that's kind of interesting.
And it's interesting how you can take your physical mailing list and get more miles out of it.
Right.
Like I said, we geo-bubble with it, where we put little ads over all the people we're sending it to. You can even go farther with that, where you can send those people YouTube commercials when they're watching YouTube, and put that list into Facebook and get that.
Yeah.
And it's not only the physical mail, but if use that to go farther with the digital. And my suggestion is always repetition is what's needed. People are like, oh, I'm going to send out one postcard and I'm going to get so much business. No, it takes 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It does. So that's where the display ads come in, to try to at least warm the customer up to seeing your name. That way, when you start sending direct mail, they get used to, like, oh, I've heard of this company. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily remember, was it good, was it bad? Mm-hmm. And they make the association that it must have been good, otherwise I wouldn't have remembered it.
I'm paying attention to it, so it's got to be good, right?
It's got to be good, right?
So you've got them in awareness, and now you're pushing them into consideration at that point. Interesting. Yeah. So,
and with direct mail, also, the part that we're leaving out is cooperative mailing, where you see like Valpak
mm-hmm.
or some of the other names, where they put all of those little coupons inside the same envelope and mail that off. So that's even cheaper. I mean, you get down to like 5 cents a home.
Yeah.
And you're still getting it, depending on what your business is. I mean, if you have a repair shop, I mean, every repair shop, every restaurant. I mean, really and truly, if you have a restaurant and then you call one of these co-op mailing places, you can beat them up on the price.
Oh, yeah.
Because they want restaurants. They know if they can get restaurants in there, that people are going to go through it, and that's going to magically lead to the automotive place getting an oil change.
Yeah.
And just up everything. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I get those. I don't know how often it doesn't feel like I get them every month, but I do notice them, right? And I'll open them and I'll go through them. We look for like haircuts and restaurants, but I notice there's a lot of home improvements in there, tons of home improvement. And then you get kind of like the national buys that are in all of them. But yeah, I mean, if you're hitting a house for 5 cents,
right,
and they're coming in and buying a $25 entree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That works, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's good. Okay. So as we wrap this up, because we're going to run a little bit long if we keep going, because I know you and I we'll talk for days. But what are some recommendations you would make for those that are interested in getting started, or maybe they've started the first one and haven't quite seen the results? Like, what are some of the things that you always tell your clients?
Yeah. So first thing, I'll talk a little bit about some random mistakes that I've seen. So I had a client one time who, before I came in, they sold stuff to people with pools. They literally used Google Earth and zoomed into everyone's house in the backyard to find out if they had a pool or not.
Okay.
And didn't know there's a such thing as
which you can do, but that's a very tedious process.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a thing called a mailing house that you can, or a list company. Google, find a list company. We use Mailers Haven. Very happy with them. So that you can actually start going through different criteria. And that's the first thing. That's one of the mistakes. Like, people don't think you can get that specific with direct mail.
Yeah.
You can either get extremely specific, like I said, down to whether a pet wore a Halloween costume, or you can do the every door direct mail, which is cheaper and get saturation in a certain area. So now it comes down to how well do you know your customer? We have a company that we're working with who does custom closets, and they're like, we want to just send out mail to people who have a $500,000 home or more in value. You can get that list.
Sure.
But is it cheaper to get that mailing list, or is it cheaper to buy the mailing list, plot it on a map, and then go, okay, overlay the every door direct mail and be like, oh, this subdivision is it all like, let's buy this subdivision and do every door direct mail for this. This one where they're out a little bit farther and spread apart, I'll have to send the postcards to that way. So know your customer, and then go one step farther and plot the two maps and see what makes sense. It will save you money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to build a $500,000 house next to a $100,000 house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it completely makes sense. Yeah, I was just in closing, I was looking at an annual report that this one company does, and you mentioned 2 to 3 times, and that's what they were saying is the 2 to 3 times you got to hit somebody, and that usually works best. But they were also saying that in this year, 2026, 56% of the people are actually increasing their budgets because of what they're seeing. So it's really kind of interesting to see that something old school is coming back.
It is. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And there's so much you can do with it. And physically putting something in someone's hand, the way the paper feels, gives them a sense of your business. Do you want it to fold out and make something? I sent out a postcard recently that was, the size of my torso. It was so big. Yeah. Just because the client doesn't believe in white space. He's like, I pay for that space.
Oh, I know that client. Yeah.
So, we had to make sure that we got the biggest postcard possible in order to put the most amount on it.
Still got to fit in the mailbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that there are rules. You do need to read the rules about tabbing stuff a certain way. Like, I think you have to have 3 out of the 4 corners tabbed if it does open. But I saw a direct mail piece for a Christian-based college that when it unfolded, it turned into a cross. And they did direct mail with it. You can do all types of... We had one that we... for a hardware store that we did, home improvement, that it opened and it looked like it was the front door. And you were walking into the house. Like, that's fun stuff that if you get it and you can get that person to talk to their neighbor about it, now you've really upped it to a whole new level of direct mail.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, long time ago with the home improvement or home decor shop that we had.
Yeah.
We did an open house one where it was the front doors opening to the open house. But yeah, no, it's kind of a cool idea. You play with it and have some fun with it. Okay. If somebody wants to get involved with direct mail, how do they find you?
They can reach us on our website. It's barbeldagency.com. That's B as in boy, A-R, B as in boy again, A-U, L-D as in dog, agency.com.
Cool. Until next time, thanks, Chris, for being with us.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thank you as always.
See you later.